Most people are using the wrong compounding strategy for their income. And that one mistake is why they work hard for years and still feel like they're going nowhere financially. Here's the thing nobody talks about. Compounding doesn't work the same way for everyone. The strategy that works perfectly for someone earning $100,000 a year can completely backfire for someone earning $40,000. Today I'm going to break down exactly what you should be doing at 3 different income levels: $40,000, $75,000, and $100,000 and above, with real numbers, real steps, and zero fluff. No matter where you are right now, there's a version of this that applies directly to you. Let me paint you a picture. 2 people. Both want to build wealth. Both have heard about compounding. One of them opens up a brokerage account and starts putting money into index funds. The other one does the exact same thing. 5 years pass. One of them has made real progress. Their account is growing, their stress around money is lower, and they're actually starting to feel like they're ahead. The other one barely moved, maybe even went backward. Same strategy, very different results. Why? Because compounding isn't one universal thing. It's a system that reacts differently, depending on how much fuel you're putting into it. If you're at $40,000 a year, and you try to invest like someone at $100,000, you're going to drain yourself dry. And if you're at $100,000, and you're still treating money the way you did when you were at $40,000, you're leaving years of wealth building on the table. The strategy has to match the income. That's what this video is about, so make sure to stay until the end. Leave a like, and let's start. Stage 1, $40,000. Per year at this income level, money is real. Every single dollar has a job, and most of those jobs are already taken before the paycheck even lands. After taxes, you're bringing home somewhere around $2,700 a month. That's rent, food, transportation, phone bill, and if you're lucky, a small amount left over that feels almost insulting to call savings. So what does compounding look like here? The first thing you have to understand is that at $40,000, compounding doesn't start with investment growth. It starts with stopping the bleeding. Because here's what most people at this income level don't realize. They already have compounding working against them. High interest debt compounds. Buy now, pay later schemes compound. Forgotten subscriptions compound. If you're paying $200 a month in credit card interest, that's $2,400 a year going straight backward. That money isn't just lost for today, it's lost for every year it could have been invested. At a 7% average annual return, $2,400 per year over 20 years is roughly $104,000. Gone. Because of interest. So the first real move at this income level is a full audit of everything that's silently draining your future. Write down every single payment you make every month, every subscription, every minimum, payment, every automatic renewal. Then ask, which of these are compounding against me? Eliminate them in order of interest rate, highest first. Once that's done, you build your floor. Before you invest a single dollar, you need 3 months of expenses in cash. For someone at this income level, that's probably somewhere between $5,000 and $8,000. I know that sounds like a lot when money is tight, but here's why it matters so much. Without this buffer, every emergency sends you back into debt. And debt at high interest rates is the single biggest enemy of compounding at this income level. The emergency fund isn't just safety, it's the thing that allows you to stay invested when life happens. Now comes the actual investment strategy. For $40,000 earners, a Roth IRA is one of the most powerful tools available. In 2024, you can contribute up to $7,000 per year. Now you probably can't hit that right away, and that's fine. Even $50 a month is $600 a year. That's $600 invested into a low-cost index fund at an average return of 7% annually turns into roughly $2,460 in 10 years. Not because of what you put in, but because of what it earns on top of what it earns. That's compounding. Small and steady, but it's real. The other thing that's absolutely critical at this income level is income growth, because there's a ceiling on how fast you can compound when you're working with a limited amount of fuel. Earning an extra $5,000 to $10,000 a year through a skill upgrade, a side income stream, or a better paying job has a bigger impact here than almost anything else you can do. When your income is tight, each new dollar added to your savings rate creates an outsized effect. Study something that makes you more valuable. Take the extra shift. Build something on the side. Every dollar of new income you redirect toward compounding is multiplied more powerfully at this stage than at any other. To summarize the $40,000 strategy: stop the bleeding, build the floor, use tax-free, growth and invest in your income. In that order. Stage 2, $75,000 per year. Now things get interesting. At $75,000, your take-home pay is around $4,600 a month. That's a meaningful jump. For the first time, you have actual breathing room. Choices instead of just reactions. There's money left after the bills, sometimes a decent amount. And this is precisely why $75,000 is the danger zone. Not because the money isn't there, it's there, but because when you have more, the temptation to spend more is just as strong as the income increase. Research consistently shows that lifestyle inflation is one of the biggest wealth destroyers at middle incomes. A study from Salary Finance found that 32% of people earning $75,000 or more still live paycheck to paycheck. Think about that. Earning nearly six figures and still running out of money before the month ends. How? Because every raise comes with a slightly nicer apartment, a slightly newer car, a few more nights out, a few more subscriptions, and slowly the gap between income and expenses stays exactly the same, even as the numbers get bigger. So the first strategy at this income level isn't investing. It's tracking, and it's also opening your YouTube channel to get closer to the third level, since YouTube is the golden opportunity of this decade, but only if done well, as I teach you in my free community with the link below. Not vague tracking, precise tracking. Pull up your last 3 months of bank and credit card statements right now and categorize every single transaction. Most people who do this for the first time are genuinely shocked by what they find. They thought they were spending $400 a month on food. It's $780. They thought entertainment was minimal. It's $300. This isn't about guilt, it's about clarity. Because you can't direct money you don't see. Once you have that picture, you compare it to a simple benchmark. Your net worth. At $75,000, here's a rough guideline from common personal finance benchmarks used by advisors and financial planners. By age 30, you should have roughly 1 year of income saved. By 40, 3 times your income. By 50, 6 times. These aren't perfect numbers and everyone's situation is different, but they give you a benchmark to measure against. If you're behind, that number should feel like a push. If you're on track, it should give you momentum to stay consistent. Now, the investment strategy. At this income level, you have more options and more room to be consistent. Start by maxing out your employer's 401k match if you have one. That match is an immediate 50% to 100% return on your money before the market does anything. Then fully fund a Roth IRA if you qualify based on income. After that, you can look at a taxable brokerage account for additional investing. The key number at $75,000 is your savings rate. Saving 15% of your gross income at this level means roughly $11,250 per year going toward your future. Invested consistently into a diversified index fund, portfolio over 25 years at a 7% average annual return, that's over $730,000. That is the power of compounding at this income when you're consistent. Increase that savings rate to 20%, about $15,000 per year. And that same 25-year number climbs past $970,000. Every percentage point matters at this stage. The difference between 15% and 20% isn't just $3,750 more per year. It's the difference between retiring with $730,000 or nearly $1 million. The final piece at this stage is automation. When you automate your savings and investments, meaning the money moves before you ever see it, you remove the temptation and the decision. Set up automatic transfers on payday. Make saving the default, not the afterthought. To summarize the $75,000 strategy: track with precision, benchmark your net worth, maximize employer benefits, protect your savings rate, and automate everything. Stage 3, $100,000 and above. This is where compounding becomes genuinely powerful. At $100,000, your take-home pay is somewhere around $6,000 to $6,500 a month, depending on your state. You now have enough to save meaningfully, invest aggressively, and still live a comfortable life. The machine has real fuel. But here's the trap that catches almost everyone at this level. Comfort. The moment income crosses six figures, something psychological shifts. The pressure that used to drive discipline starts to fade because the urgent problems are gone. You're not stressed about the electric bill. You can buy what you want without much thought. And slowly, silently, lifestyle inflation doesn't just creep in, it floods in. A nicer apartment, a car upgrade, first-class upgrades. The slightly more expensive version of everything, chosen not out of real need but out of the simple fact that you can. According to a study by Charles Schwab, 59% of Americans consider themselves financially comfortable. Yet the median retirement savings for people between 55 and 64 is only around $185,000, well below what most people need. High income does not automatically create wealth, spending habits do. So the first compounding strategy at six figures is controlling lifestyle inflation with intention. This doesn't mean refusing to enjoy your money, it means setting a clear percentage that your lifestyle is allowed to take, and defending everything above that line for compounding. A simple framework. For every raise or income increase, keep 50% for lifestyle improvements and direct the other 50% straight into investments. You enjoy more, you also build more. Neither side loses. The second strategy at this income level is calculating your financial independence number. This is the moment everything changes. Your FI number is the amount of invested assets you need to live off without ever working again. The simplest calculation uses the 4% rule. Divide your desired annual expenses by 0.04. If you want to spend $60,000 per year in retirement, you need $1.5 million invested. If you want $80,000 per year, you need $2 million. Now run your current trajectory at a 20% savings rate on $100,000. You're saving $20,000 per year. Invested at 7% average annual return, you'd hit $1.5 million in approximately 27 years. Increase your savings rate to 30%, $30,000 per year, and you hit the same number in roughly 22 years. That's 5 years of your life back just from adjusting a percentage. At 40%, you could get there in about 18 years. When you see your FI number clearly, every financial decision changes. That new car doesn't just cost $40,000, it costs you 6 months of freedom. The third strategy at this level is layering your investment vehicles. At $100,000, you can do things that lower income levels simply can't. You can max out a 401k, which in 2024 is $23,000 per year, and a Roth or traditional IRA on top of that. Then you can move into a taxable brokerage account for additional market exposure. If you're self-employed or have side income, a SEPIRA or solo. 401k opens up even higher contribution limits. Each of these accounts plays a different role. The 401k lowers your taxable income today. The Roth IRA grows tax-free and gives you flexibility in retirement. The taxable brokerage gives you access without penalties if you want to retire early. Layering these three creates a diversification of tax treatment, which is one of the most underrated compounding advantages available. Beyond that, a small portion of your portfolio, 5% to 10%, can be placed into higher growth opportunities. Not gambling, but calculated, informed bets that align with your knowledge and experience. That could be individual stocks in your industry, real estate, a small business, or other alternative investments. The key word is small. The rest stays boring, diversified, and consistent. But at this income level, you can afford to run a small engine alongside the main one. The final piece is the most important. Protect the gap. The gap between your income and your lifestyle is the engine of compounding at 6 figures. Someone earning $100,000 and saving $15,000 a year will accumulate dramatically less than someone saving $30,000. After 20 years, at a 7% return, that's the difference between roughly $615,000 and $1.23 million. Same income, twice the wealth. The only difference is the gap. Here's the thing that ties all three stages together. Compounding isn't just about money growing. It's about you growing into someone who treats money differently at every level. At $40,000, you learn precision. Every dollar counts, and you develop a relationship with money that most high earners never have. At $75,000, you learn awareness. You see the difference between spending money and directing money. At $100,000, you learn restraint. And restraint at that income level is what separates people who look wealthy from people who actually are. The most dangerous financial person isn't someone who earns $40,000 and struggles. It's someone who earns the $150,000, spends $145,000, and has a net worth that would embarrass someone half their income. Income is not wealth. Consistently directed income, compounded over time, is wealth. So let's bring it all together. If you're at $40,000, stop the negative compounding first, build your emergency fund, start a Roth IRA with whatever you can, and actively invest in growing your income. If you're at $75,000, track your spending with real numbers, benchmark your net worth against your age, max out employer benefits, protect your savings rate, and automate everything. So discipline isn't a daily decision. If you're at $100,000 or above, control lifestyle inflation with a defined system, calculate your FI number and run the math, layer your investment accounts, and protect the gap between your income and your lifestyle like it's the most important asset you own. Because it is, no matter which stage you're in right now.